Hi everyone, please hit the subscribe button. In this video, I'm going to discuss hoovering. Hoovering is essentially attempting to suck a person back into the relationship. This could be a romantic relationship. It could be your relationship with your sibling, your parent, even a friend. Maybe you were close even to a coworker. You developed a friendship with them, and then you were not essentially able to continue a relationship with them, and have broken that relationship off. And you are noticing that they are hoovering, which again is attempting to suck a person back into the relationship indirectly most of the time. So if you look at the picture I have here, there's just a typical one. A guy shows up with flowers without calling, saying he was up all night, and all of a sudden, he cannot imagine various things. And, at this point, red flag alerts should be going off in your head if something like this is happening. But in this video, I'm just going to discuss a few examples of hoovering and what they might sound like, okay? So please stay tuned. So hoovering is not a genuine apology. It's not even real remorse. It's also not the narcissist in your life figuring out that they were wrong and finally started to appreciate you. This is something, the thought that people have. It's like, oh, finally they see me for what I'm worth. They're going to treat me with respect now. That's pretty unlikely if you are dealing with a narcissist. Hoovering essentially is just an act for the narcissist in your life to get what they want for a period of time or even longer. Okay, so the very first one, and this is very common, after you break up with somebody or tell them, you don't want to have any ongoing contact. So in a breakup, it could be, your boyfriend or girlfriend, your spouse. With family, it just could be a request to go no contact. But this person might just be contacting you and texting you and calling you as if you never had that conversation with them. So they're just pretending that your relationship is not over and pretending you still have contact. Basically ignoring your request and just assuming that everything is fine. Number 2, an unexpected visit. So again, pretending everything is fine. They might still have a key to your place. They might know where you are on a particular day and just randomly show up. Maybe you've had, similar plans in the previous weeks. Maybe, they give you a ride to work every day and they just assume that nothing has changed. It could be for a visit on a special occasion. Or if they know that you're going to be somewhere and there's like a mutual friend, they might get themselves invited to a particular event, trying to basically be around you, even though full well understanding that you really don't want them to. The third one I have here is unexpected or unsolicited gifts. So there might be a special occasion coming up, like a birthday or the holidays, or Valentine's Day, things like that. Or maybe a just because gift. They were somewhere or they went on a trip somewhere and they just were thinking of you so much that they wanted to get you something. So something that's unexpected or unsolicited after you've already communicated to them that you do not want the relationship to continue would also be considered hoovering. So it's just an excuse to basically suck you back in, by showing that they care. And most likely not much will change, but it's just a way for them to get what they want again. The fourth one I have here is sending other people to plead their case. So you might have friends in common or even, family that they are still in touch with. And they're just sending in these people, these flying monkeys, just to plead their case. Or it might not even be to plead their case. It might just be, like having somebody else add you to social media so they could still keep tabs and just try to find out info about you that way and, plan for further contact. So the other one that I have here is unexpected apology. If this is somebody that you know you've been with for a long time and you have to really kind of trust your gut on this, especially if maybe if this is like your romantic partner and maybe you've already broken up before in the past. Maybe they've already hoovered and, maybe you've already previously let them back in and then they went back to being their usual selves. You really have to question this unexpected apology and whether it's genuine and, what really is the substance of the apology itself. Like, is it just, I'm sorry, I understand everything I did was wrong, or is there some depth to it? You really have to trust your gut on this one. So this is another one, early request for a friendship or to spend time together. This might be tempting because you might be used to spending a lot of time with this person. You might miss them and maybe a friendship sounds like a good idea, but if it's too early on, it's most likely not, very conducive for a healthy friendship to begin, especially if the relationship or the breakup was painful. And I wouldn't really trust something like this. I would see it as hoovering because this is still an attempt to spend time with you in, very close time, like following the breakup or the request for no contact. You have to have time where you're able to kind of heal and process things and move forward. So an early request for a friendship is hoovering. They might try to get you back with some drama, like gossiping about other people. Again, this is, if you're not communicating with them about anything else, this just might be another attempt just to sort of start getting you to, communicate with them. So like, oh, I heard so-and-so did this. Oh my God, you're not going to believe this. It's better to kind of stay away from these types of conversations, on any given day anyway. But, if it's somebody that you have ended things with, again, whether it's a romantic relationship or otherwise, these types of, gossiping type of conversations are not ideal because then they're going to open up the door to other types of things. And it's best not to go down that road most of the time. So similar to a previous one I had is number 8, tearful declarations of love. So, some people might come at you shortly after a really, painful breakup or experience. They might have not ever shown you any other sort of attention previously, but all of a sudden, because they've lost their supply, they might have this emotional reaction. It's not really something to fall for. You really have to kind of judge the relationship on its merit and try to think logically, about your next steps. But these, tearful declarations out of nowhere are hoovering as well. So it's something to look out for. Another one is using culture, religion, or it's family excuses to bait you. If you're not falling for any of the other tactics, using this, and kind of saying that, this is our culture or this is our religion or, this is not how we do things. It's just another way to sort of manipulate you and gaslight you and use those things to lure you back in. And it's something to look out for as well. A big one is reaching out on important dates, which is something I've touched on previously. But, if they know that you've, it's like an occasion in your life, or maybe you have a medical procedure, and just to sort of like offer support, or, if it's, somebody's getting married and things like that, even though they might not be part of it, this might be a way for them to sort of, act like, they still care. And it's tempting to fall for stuff like this because if you have no other supports in your life to recognize these big days and big moments, it's easy to see this as, oh, they really love me, or they really care. Nobody else has reached out. But it could be a manipulation ploy on their end. In some cases, people might only be able or, tempted to reach out when they hear news about your life on social media from others. If you're dating somebody or you're doing something else, whether it's out of jealousy or anything else, they could say like, oh, I heard you're doing this. Oh, I heard that you're now, doing this. Congratulations. I'm so proud. And, it's another way to start communication. So, in all types of these situations, it's always best to kind of, if you are even planning to respond, to keep those responses short and not, start anything that might not be healthy for you. So the other thing is number 12, they might be using children as an excuse for more contact than is actually needed for you to co-parent. This is just a way to make you feel guilty, like you're failing your kids. It's a manipulation tactic. This does not say anything about you. You are not, failing as a parent by any means. It's just something that they know that you will react to because you have probably shown yourself to be a good and caring parent. And that's something that instead of celebrating, they just want to use against you. Number 13 is a fake emergency. So it could be an actual emergency that's not that dire, and there's, other avenues they could take. They just don't want to. It could be a fake emergency where they're actually, making something up, because otherwise they know that you're not going to respond to them. Number 14, they are all of a sudden acting nicer than usual. So, if you have had a relationship with somebody for a prolonged period of time, you kind of know how this person works. If you're sensing that their behavior is all of a sudden much nicer but totally out of character, then that behavior is probably not likely to last. So be careful when you see things like that. It doesn't mean that somebody's, changed right away. It's, if you're dealing with a narcissist, this is most likely just a tactic for, them to use to get you to respond. And number 15. So if this is a romantic partner, ex-partner, requests for just sex. These are, tough, right? Because if especially after a breakup, you might be tempted, you might feel lonely, you might still have feelings, you might have needs. But these requests for just sex are not ever really going to be just sex. And you're not likely to feel better after this type of request, right? And again, it opens the door for more communication, more hurt, and more pain down the road. So with hoovering, if their hoovering tactics are successful, then they typically just go back to their abusive ways. If their hoovering tactics are not successful, then they most likely will get angry and blame you and gaslight you. Especially if you've let them back in before, it's not a good idea to let them back in again. If you've seen the first time that they just went back to their typical ways, most likely nothing's going to change. It's just a ploy to get you back. So, try to look for signs that, you're being manipulated or they're hoovering, and trust your gut. That's all you could really do. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you found it helpful, and hopefully you'll be able to recognize signs of this in your life, and hopefully you can make choices that will not cause you any pain or harm in the future. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.